throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dear James Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we are working with some beautiful, beautiful, powerful energies. There is a full moon in Aquarius. And let me just bring up the chart while I'm starting off with it. And this is the event chart for the full moon in Aquarius. It happened this morning, just minutes ago. And you can see on the bottom left, we have the moon. The full moon is conjunct Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. That is also where the North Node has just moved into. And the North Node is about where we are going individually in our lives, but also collectively. And then, of course, directly opposite is the Sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo. And this is where the South Node has just entered. So we have this major, again, this isn't ordinary garden variety astrology that's occurring, that has been occurring for these past probably 14, 16 months. This is epic, massive change that is generational by, by sometimes thousands of years. I want to move in, welcome Heather, welcome Alicia. I want to move into I'm going to bring up our main theme and then we're going to backload all of this. So our main theme is the calling. I see, I hear, I speak. Because this full moon in Aquarius, this moment, is really a culmination point. And it's an awakening point that says, are you listening? Are you going as guided? Are you recalibrating your internal GPS so that it is completely in alignment with what your soul came to do? This is no longer about what the ego, the mind, the human, the personality wants or desires. It's how we harness that energy in service, in concert to and with the soul's calling. So we have this, the calling, I see, I hear, I speak, and how we will tie this to the divine feminine, the reawakening of it, to Mary Magdalene. We began this journey with the return of the divine feminine and how that's coming about. I want to go back to the chart. Also in this chart, kind of just a little like 1150 at the top of the chart, you'll see the symbol for Venus. There's a red line going over to Mars. So Venus is squaring Mars at the same time. And so this isn't about, male against female or vice versa. This is about the exchange and the opposition within about our divine masculine, our divine feminine. And so again, this whole metamorphosis of coming into a more harmonic state of being so that we are operating unified as one. So let's take a quick look, and this will set the tone. Astrologer Chani Nicholas issued this update, and this Aquarius full moon is all about transformation. The full moon in Aquarius is bringing major breakthroughs. Occurring at 7:36 a.m. Pacific time, this lunation has intense eclipse energy, even though it isn't one. That's because it's sharing a sign with the North Node, sitting close to Pluto, the planet of the underworld, opposite the Sun and Jupiter, planet of luck and expansion, and asking us to face the fears that have kept us small. That was one of our I believe it was one of our mantras, is that there's nothing that there's nothing good that comes from playing small. Now is the time to invest in your personal agency and believe in the power of collective action as we brace for big changes with August's eclipses. There are 2 eclipses coming up in the month of August. Welcome, Colleen. So we're setting the tone here for really the epic nature. And I don't know about some of you, but if you've been feeling it, there was a like a vibration, a hum, almost like you're biting down on the back of your teeth as we've been building to this full moon. And so there's also this aspect, and we're going to talk about the fishes again, fish, and how that has, of course, is associated with Master Jesus. So we're talking about 2,000 years ago, and how there's a culmination point again. We're getting there. Bear with me. So I want to begin with this John 14:12. I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works, because I am going to be with the Father. This is a message that says that when we listen, when we believe, when we're aligned with the purity of our soul, with the purity of who we are limitless beings. And that here Master Jesus is saying, you'll do the same works I have done and even greater works. That's what this whole journey has been about, is this leveling up, this upreaching, this expansion of consciousness, the evolution of humanity, the leaving behind, the release of the old, of the past. And it's literally number 3 from the unseen. The release of the past and the renewal that lies on the other side. And this brought us into 3 tarot cards. The first one is Judgment. And Judgment is about awakening, second chances, and hearing your calling. And you see how these bodies, these silhouettes, these humans are lifting up from the base to be awakened, to be expanded, to hear their calling, as though we've been in this, kind of in a zombie state, or, in a dead state. And then, so the release of the past and the renewal that lies on the other side. So we have Judgment. That's card number 20 in the tarot. It's a major arcana. The next card is 21. It goes to the World. The World is about endings, wholeness, travel, and success. So this can be about movement. It's certainly about endings, the culmination point of something, the ending, and how we move beyond the past. We release it. And then it brings us finally to the Fool. And the Fool is the 0 in the major arcana. And the Fool is about new beginnings, innocence, rise, and leap of faith. So it's about rising. And you'll see how that word, it is our mantra. Our mantra is rise. And in that, we have this opportunity in a spiritual context. To rise means awakening to a higher state of consciousness, moving past ego, and evolving beyond past limitations. It represents inner healing, ascending to higher vibrations. We've talked about going back to where we began, an octave higher, and actively aligning your mind, body, and soul with your deepest purpose, the calling, this Ahura Mazda, the rotary engine, and where the ego, mind, personality, human, the heart, and the soul are unified like in a triangular action. So it's actively aligning mind, body, and soul with your deepest purpose. It's about elevating consciousness. Rising signifies transcending negative patterns, limiting beliefs, and lower emotional states like fear or anger, allowing you to operate from a place of love and compassion. It's the hero's journey. So the Fool card, the Fool's journey is the hero's journey. The Fool is the ingenue. It's not being naive. It's being willing to seek greater consciousness, expansiveness, to release the past to see what's before us. So the hero's journey, it mirrors the archetypal rebirth where you rise from the ashes of difficult life experiences. This transformation creates resilience, deeper self-awareness, and personal empowerment. We are really being called at this time, and at this time, this culmination point, but it's all been leading to this, to empty our vessels, to release the past, to let go of the old stories, scripts, identities, masks, labels, all of these old things that Sun and Jupiter in Leo that hide our light. Because of course, Leo is the sign of the sun. It's the home of the sun. Our natural light, shining. It's in its raw, beautiful state. Well, all of these other things, life experiences and identities and stories and truths and all these things and fears, well, they become layers that shade, that dim our light. And so here, Jupiter is just behind the sun, amplifying the sun's light. They're working in concert to purify, to amplify, to magnify our purity. The shadow of that is these masks, identities, the corruptness of our light. And so, which train are you on? The hero's journey says it's time to rise. It's time to rise from the ashes. It's time to release all of this goo that is preventing us from being our highest octave. And it's about energy and vibration. In metaphysical practices, rising refers to elevating your personal frequency or working up through your energetic centers, your chakras, to achieve balance. So it's deepened self-awareness, it's increased compassion, and it's a surrender to the present moment. This beautiful, and notice it's water, it's this living waters, and they're crescendoing this rise with that beautiful light, that Leo sun light rising, coming through, piercing, and creating that doorway, that opening. We had the door opens, walk through it. When the door opens, walk through it. And don't look back. So the release of the past and the renewal that lies on the other side, and how it's about judgment, the world, the fool in the tarot, and this rise aspect. So now let's go back to the calling. And we're going to backload this because, again, this Aquarius full moon is heavily tied to an ancient story about Master Jesus, the fisher, being the fisher of men, and Mary Magdalene, and the continuation of that, the crucifixion, the resurrection, Exodus. There's a very ancient story that's rooted in all of this. The calling. A spiritual calling is a deep inner sense of being chosen or guided by a higher power toward a specific life purpose, moral duty, or personal transformation. It bridges your unique gifts, your authenticity, with the needs of the world. So again, this is about switching gears, awakening to what is my calling? What did my soul come to do? And when we align with that and we stop telling ourselves we can't have it because of X, Y, or Z, everything shifts, the alignment, the energies, the abundance, and it becomes very fertile, is what they're saying, the unseen is saying. Core meanings of the calling. It's about divine purpose, an assignment or direction given by the divine. It's about inner awakening, a strong pull to move away from empty habits and towards spiritual growth. It's going to be pulling you. The unseen is saying it's going to be relentless. When you're aligned with it, it's going to be relentless, meaning it's pulling you. It's a magnet that's pulling you. When you're out of alignment with it, it's going to be loud to get you back on track. And it's about service to others, the Aquarian age, using your natural talents to help, heal, or teach oneself and others. So service to others. Signs of a calling, the way you'll know. It can be persistent nudges, that loud voice, a repeated thought, passion, or interest that will not go away. It can be about deep empathy, feeling a strong emotional pull toward a specific problem like helping the sick or teaching. You're going to know it because it's going to feel like a magnet just pulling you from your sternum. And then inner peace. It's a quiet sense of rightness when you think about a certain path. It's a knowing that says, I know this to be true. Now I have to face fears, take risks, utilize discernment, let go of the past, all of these things to walk through the fire, to receive it, to align with it. So the calling, and then I see, I hear, I speak. This phrase is a spiritual reminder of total awareness, truth, and alignment between your inner perception and your outward expression. It represents a three-step journey of awakening. First, observing reality clearly, then listening deeply with intuition, and finally speaking your truth with integrity. The IC represents the third eye, the perception. It's about moving past physical sight to recognize spiritual truth, patterns, and the deeper reality behind appearances without judgment. It's about moving below the surface. So we're moving past physical sight to recognize spiritual truth, knowing, and the patterns that are showing up, so that a deeper reality appears without judgment. One of the most famous things you'll be ever famous, meaning powerful, is when you receive an intuitive knowing, don't judge it. Listen to it. Allow it to come to the fore. And then watch signs, symbols, synchronicities, the affirmations, the confirmations that come to say to you, see, this is the chosen path. This is the calling. And it aligns and it presents itself. I hear. It's about intuition and receptivity. Tuning out external noise, ego, mind, personality chatter, other people's opinions, woulda, shoulda, couldas, all that old goo and guck and stuff, all that fear. It's tuning out the external noise to listen to your inner voice, the divine, the unseen, the all that is, the universe. It's about fine-tuning the dial so you hear the clarity of your soul. And then I speak. It's about expression and truth. Translating what you have perceived and understood into honest, authentic words that reflect your highest values. You know, the truth speaks for itself. We don't need to defend it. It simply speaks for itself. And thereby that knowing, that truth is very authentic. It's very easy to convey. We don't have to defend it. Other people may not like it, but that doesn't mean that we have to defend it. We just need to align with it, be ready, align, listen. So I see, I hear, I speak. This calling. Number one from the unseen, they said, glory be that we all celebrate the divine feminine within. This is the aspect of ourselves that has been cut down, diminished, oppressed, suppressed. It's out of balance. And it doesn't matter whether your gender, your physical gender and everything. That's not what we're speaking about here. The unseen is speaking about the divine feminine within. We all have that. And where is that out of alignment? Where has it been diminished? Where has your voice, the calling of that knowing, that intuition, that empathy and compassion been diminished? Which means, and there's that Venus-Mars square, because that's what we're talking about, is there's friction. Squares denote friction in astrology that need to be released, that need to be corrected, addressed. Well, to do that, we have to be honest with ourselves to see that. So where is my divine feminine too low, too high, and bringing that back into harmony and balance. It's our key word, and our key word is celebrate. And celebrate means to recognize a notable day, event, or achievement. We're to celebrate this Aquarius full moon. It is powerful, and we may see powerful events, both light and shadow, positive and negative, if you will, playing out. But it's to celebrate the opportunity that's within it to up-level. So to recognize a notable day, event, or achievement, to praise someone or something publicly, or to perform a religious ceremony, to praise, to extol, to commend, to give to make famous, as to celebrate the name of the Most High. So we have this aspect of celebrate. We're meant to celebrate our authenticity, our uniqueness, what our soul came to do. We're meant to celebrate. And when we think about 8.3, almost 4 billion souls on the planet, when we celebrate, there's unity, there's joy, there's love and laughter and kindness and generosity. This is a happy world when we celebrate the uniqueness, the authenticity within the soul of another reflected back to us. And again, in order to do that in our highest, most pure form, we have to recognize and celebrate our soul within. So glory be that we all celebrate the divine feminine within. So now let's move to our astrological influence. So when I looked at, this is where we're going to go back 2,000 years. So when I looked at the astrological wheel, what I heard was fish in a barrel, casting a wide net. And the fish in the barrel was the releasing, like there's a releasing of the fish in the barrel. And remember, back on the 15th of July, our main theme was change. It's been a long time coming. And how these fish, these goldfish, were jumping from one vessel, one container, one bowl to another, to a new one. Well, so we're looking at this, and we're going to fish in a barrel and casting a wide net. So the Bible frequently uses fish and fishing as spiritual metaphors. In symbolism and biblical symbolism of fish, about the fishers of men, Master Jesus called his disciples, who were literal fishermen, to become, quote, fishers of men. It's in Matthew 4:19, representing evangelism and gathering believers. Awakening. Remember, the awakening that Master Jesus was speaking to, proselytizing about, was a direct connection to the Father, to the all that is, to the unseen, to wake up to your soul source connection. It was about you go direct. The parable of the net. In Matthew 13, Master Jesus compared the kingdom of heaven to a net cast into the sea that gathered all kinds of fish, symbolizing the final separation of righteousness and the wicked. In divine provision, miraculous catches of fish, such as in Luke 5 and John 21, and the feeding of the multitudes demonstrate God's, the divine's, abundance and Master Jesus's authority. The casting of a wide net. So notice that what we're talking about here, what the unseen is talking about here, is fish in a barrel, casting a wide net. 2,000-ish years ago, Master Jesus and the apostles, Mary Magdalene, continued this casting this wide net, the fishers, becoming fishers of men, Piscean era. this fishers of men, to go out and to awaken, to go out and not become, not religion. Religion became a vehicle. And when it maintains its purity, it's a powerful vehicle. When we slide or fall into dogma, then we somewhat lose the plot line, because what the call was, the calling was to awaken the divine within, the direct connection within. And this was the famous tossing of the tables and the Pharisees, and I'm paraphrasing, but you bar from the people what is rightfully theirs. What is rightfully theirs is the direct connection, the conscious awareness of that truth, and how that source, that relationship, supersedes all, guides all. We come into life with it, we exit life with it, meaning the human form. And thus this reminder, this wake-up call to listen to what your soul came to do. Not what the ego, mind, personality, or organizations, or institutions, or this, that, and the other tell us to do. So casting a wide net. Casting a wide net spiritually means expanding your faith, releasing rigid control, and opening your life to receive abundant divine blessings and or connections. It mirrors biblical parables where Jesus instructed disciples to let down their nets into deeper waters, going below the surface, or unfamiliar sides of the boat. It's unknown territory, what's before me, to achieve a miraculous harvest. We're being asked to move, to lower our nets into deeper waters, to place them on the unfamiliar sides of the boat. We know where we've been. What's before us is the unfamiliar side of the boat. We haven't been there before. And all to achieve a miraculous harvest, something greater, something more, something deeper. Core spiritual themes. It's about stepping out of our comfort zones. It's about moving past familiar, safe routines, symbolized by staying close to the shore, and trusting the unknown, guided by higher wisdom. It's about faith over exhaustion. And this is a big one. There are a lot of people I know, friends, clients, myself included. Faith over exhaustion. Trying again after a long night of toiling with no results. Choosing spiritual resilience instead of giving up out of tiredness. It's about going the distance. It's about allowing faith to sustain you, revive you, invigorate you. Yes, there is tiredness, so we need to rest when we need to rest. However, it's a message about not letting that exhaustion extinguish our faith. And then it's inclusivity and love. It's about reaching out to a broader community, including the marginalized, with open compassion rather than limiting your circle. It's about openness. It's about being willing, the intrigue, the excitement, the joy of what lies beyond where we've been. And then it's about co-creating with the divine, recognizing that personal effort alone has limits, and true abundance flows when you align your actions with spiritual wisdom and guidance. See, this is where what we choose, what the human chooses for itself, will always be less than what the divine, the unseen, your soul chooses for you. What it requires for us to have that, what it requires is that we tell the ego, mind, personality, human, yes, I know you're tired. Yes, I know you're afraid. Yes, I know it may be unknown or uncertain. Yes, you may not know how, air quotes, how it's going to happen. However, there's a calling. There's a knowing. There's a magnetism, a pull guiding you. Go create with the divine. Go co-create. Allow this to align your actions with spiritual wisdom and guidance that will uplift, expand you in ways you would have never chosen for yourself. The combination of these two, so the combination of fish in a barrel and casting a wide net, contrasts an unfair, effortless certainty with an act of expansive, faith-led seeking. We're expanding. It's the mandrakes. We're being uprooted from this small pot of this enclosure, this enslavement, to a limitless opportunity of expansion, up-leveling. To do that, we have to recognize, where have I been playing it small? Where am I allowing my enslavement to continue? Where am I allowing my divine feminine within to be out of balance, out of harmony? And how I reclaim that, how I rebalance it all. So it's about the contrast, effortless certainty with an act of expansive, faith-led seeking. Remember, in Exodus, there was a moment when they were being expanded. They were being led from enslavement. And they said, oh, we were better off with Pharaoh, this effortless certainty. Oh, I'm just better off where I am. I know this beast. So even though I know it's wrong for me, even though I know it's not serving me, even though I know there's more, oh, here's this effortless certainty. And so we stay small, enslaved, our light dimmed. What's on offer is an act of expansive, faith-led seeking to go see what's on the other side of where we've been. Spiritually, these idioms merge into a lesson about divine provision, the inclusive nature of purpose, and the shift from human control to spiritual surrender. To surrender is the most empowering act of faith, expansion, transformation, metamorphosis you will ever give yourself, because you're surrendering to your soul source connection. It's not surrender, wave the white flag, give up. It's surrendering to the highest octave of yourself. And that's limitless expansion, connectivity in this exchange to the Father, to the unseen, to the all that is. So the spiritual meanings in the lessons: casting a wide net is about inclusivity and faith. It mirrors the biblical call to be, quote, fishers of men, representing an open, unconditional sharing of love and truth to all walks of life without prejudice. I see, I hear, I speak. It symbolizes stepping out of your comfort zone and trusting a higher direction rather than relying only on your own limited experience. It's moving beyond control to this beautiful soul source connection, surrender. The fish in a barrel is the illusion of control. It represents trying to force spiritual outcomes or manipulate life through shortcuts, ego, or unfair advantages, being illicit, shady, dark. It serves as a reminder that manufactured certainty lacks the sacred, organic flow of true spiritual growth, which requires patience with the unknown. It's both patience, it's alignment, it's oneness with it, it's being willing to go as guided. And now we come to the part where it was about, so fish in a barrel, casting a wide net, this releasing of the fish. So again, imagine we've all been in this operating system, this paradigm, this way of being that is ending, completing. And a whole new world, a whole new operating system, a whole new way of being is present, is before us. This liberation, exodus, this liberation from enslavement. It's going from a confined matrix, box, to a limitless, expansive oneness, opportunity. This verdant possibility where literally anything is possible. It's all very green. It's a very green, abundant space. to receive that, it's present, it's there. To receive it, we need to become one with it. To become one with it, we need to release the past. And we have to face the fears that go along with releasing, air quotes, the old way. So, releasing a fish. Releasing a fish, the fish, from a restricted space blends the traditional spiritual act of animal liberation, life release, with the symbolic imagery of breaking free from confinement. Core spiritual themes include compassion and merit. In traditions like Buddhism, freeing a trapped or destined for market animal generates good karma, purifies past harm, and honors the sanctity of life. So while we're speaking about fish and the releasing, we are the fish. Master Jesus said to the literal fishermen who became apostles, I'm going to teach you how to be fishers of men, humankind, mankind. Breaking confinement. A barrel represents artificial restriction. We've been in an operating system, a way of life, these institutions and borders and laws and so forth that represent artificial restriction, narrow vision, or a suffocating environment. Releasing the fish, 8.34 billion souls, releasing the fish symbolizes liberation from a trapped mindset or stagnant life phase. And it doesn't matter how good, air quotes, good or bad your life is, your standing, your wealth, all of this. Because all of it, to this point, has been in an artificial, restrictive, narrow, suffocating environment, operating system. It has these limits, these controls. When those are removed, liberation, exodus, liberation, expansion, up-leveling of consciousness occurs because we're no longer bound, restricted by, and constricted by these stagnant energies. Restoring natural flow, moving a creature from a confined container back into an open, flowing body of water, mirrors returning to alignment with the natural universe and divine flow. Interpretations of this are like personal transformation, letting go of old limitations or habits that have kept your own spirit small and contained liberates you. So while we may be, quote unquote, waiting for the world to catch up or wanting world leaders and institutions and businesses and everything to operate this way, we need to remember we are those things, meaning they are all comprised of people. Governments, institutions, businesses, groups, universities are all comprised of people. So for this personal transformation to occur, we, 8.3 billion souls on the planet, have to wake up to the calling that is within us. I see, I hear, I speak. And lastly, it's about offering grace, acting as a vessel of mercy by giving freedom where there was previously no escape. There's an escape. When the door opens, walk through it and do not look back. Don't make the mistake of the choice that was made by many of the Israelites at the time of Exodus. When the golden calf and the false idols and this is not a Christian religious discussion. It is a spiritual one that supersedes all of that, that says, because fear said to them, I'm better off where I was. That known beast, as opposed to listening and witnessing what was being offered to them. Manna from the air, water being smited from a rock. They were being led and guided. They were being fed and nourished. They had water. They had Yahweh with them, demonstrating presence, miracles. And yet they allowed fear to prevent them from receiving what is now 2,000 years later directly in front of us, just as it was then, the promised land, this land of milk and honey, this greater opportunity. Well, here we are. And now it's the Aquarian age. So that the ideal becomes the new reality. So what we have been searching and striving for and upreaching for becomes the new reality. And again, to receive it, we must align with it. To align with it, we must release the past, release the fears. Number 2 from the unseen is truth heals and conquers all. A rapid acceleration of discovery. And then I heard the Starship Enterprise theme, or CREDO. So the mission statement of the Starship Enterprise is a famous credo from the Star Trek franchise, recited in the opening narration of multiple series and films. It states, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has gone before. So in this analogy, truth heals and conquers all. So there's revelation here. This Aquarius full moon, it's conjunct Pluto, the king of the god of the underworld, in Aquarius. It's wanting to bring to light all of the goo, the guck, all that's been hidden, all of the lies, the illusions. Full moon, it's illuminating. It's directly opposite the sun and Jupiter in Leo. Life force, the purity of the light, saying, rise, rise. So it's the truth heals and conquers all, a rapid acceleration of discovery. And this Starship Enterprise credo that we're going to boldly go where no one has gone before. So now let's move to number 4. Number 4 from the unseen is Magdalene. We're speaking about both the title and the person, Mary Magdalene. Magdalene, the return of the divine feminine. And they said, rise within. And so let's go to Magdalene. Spiritually, the name Magdalene translates to the tower or fortress. It symbolizes unwavering faith, courage, and spiritual vision. Representing the divine feminine, she is revered as a bridge between the spiritual and physical realms, a seeker of truth, and the embodiment of wisdom and sacred union. Historically and metaphysically, the spiritual meaning of Magdalene encompasses several deep layers. It's the Tower of Faith. While often linked to the fishing village of Magdala in Israel, early scholars like Jerome noted that Magdalene is a title. It signifies an elevated consciousness, a pillar of strength. Just as Simon was named the Rock, Mary was named the Tower, symbolizing steady faith and a beacon of hope. It's about the divine archetype. In mysticism, she represents the ultimate receptivity to the divine, the Holy Grail, and the sacred womb of space. The presence honors the awakening of intuitive wisdom and the power of devotion. Apostles to the apostles. According to canonical and Gnostic Gospels, she was the first to witness the resurrection and was entrusted to spread the teachings. Spiritually, this elevates her as a teacher of teachers, representing independent spiritual authority. It was conveyed to her, Master Jesus conveyed to her all of the teachings, what he knew, entrusted her. And she then, with that embodiment, led it forward. Emissary of unconditional love. Modern spiritual movements often view her as a model of the divine balance between masculine and feminine energies, focusing on healing, inner wisdom, and unity consciousness. These are the same feminine energies, this divine balance, that we're being asked to focus on. Focus on inner healing, inner wisdom, unity consciousness. When we do that individually, collectively, the light purifies, the light gets brighter. The light within matches the light being mirrored to us. The Sun and Jupiter in Leo. Now let's look at Magdalene and I see, I hear, I speak. The spiritual framework of Mary Magdalene embodying I see, I hear, I speak reflects a profound journey of divine awakening, moving from the blindness of grief to inner spiritual perception and finally to prophetic witness. I see is an awakening vision. In the garden tomb, Mary initially looks through her tears and fails to recognize the risen Christ, mistaking him for a gardener. Spiritually, this represents human blindness caused by sorrow and earthly attachment. It's the illusion, it's the fog. Spiritually, true sight only arrives when looking past physical appearances into the deeper truth of divine presence. Again, it's looking deeper, moving below the surface. So true sight only arrives when looking past physical appearances into the deeper truth of divine presence. That is, I see. I hear is inner resonance. Jesus speaks a single word, her name, Mary, which was also a title. Spiritually, hearing the divine requires tuning out external chaos and listening for the intimate, personal call of the inner voice or the good shepherd. It's about listening to your soul, fine-tuning the dial, and hearing it. It symbolizes the shift from mental noise to the spiritual, quote, ear of the heart, that divine connection that resides within all of us. And lastly, I speak is about divine witness. Transformed by the encounter, she immediately moves to the disciples with the declaration, I have seen the Lord. Spiritually, this represents the vital mandate to voice your truth, share personal revelation, and bear active testimony of inner transformation to the outer world. It's about walking the walk, talking the talk from that authentic, pure, honest, truthful state of being. It's not manufactured. It speaks for itself. And when we embody that, it's number 6 from the unseen. And they said very clearly, I am that I am. When we operate from that same place, Master Jesus said, you will do what I have done and even greater things. There was a promise involved. Not only will you do what I've done, you will do even greater things. Why? Because once you've connected, you expand. You become limitless. You are no longer enslaved and confined. And when you do that, and it can only be done from a place of purity, not perfectness, purity meaning goodness, good. Do unto others as you would have done to you. When you operate from this place of simple purity, authenticity, goodness, it's a game changer. It changes everything. And that is the world we're receiving, we're walking into, reclaiming. Number 5 from the unseen, they said the blending of harmonies and the music of the spheres. An epic shift, a chord change in frequency. So frequency, let me just give you a quick, so frequency is the number of times a repeating event happens in a set amount of time. It's usually measured in hertz, where 1 hertz means 1 complete cycle or wave per second. So that's the physics, the literal term, frequency. The blending of harmonies, the music, and the music of the spheres. An epic shift, chord shift in frequency. And remember this, and then this brought up the unseen was a few shows back, Uranus, and astrologically, Uranus was at the bending of the nodes, and it plucked that chord. It activated both the north and the south. Uranus is the higher mind, expect the unexpected. So this up-leveling of frequency, of hertz. And then they were also saying, where they were associating this with the nodes shifting, north node in Aquarius, south node in Leo. And so the blending of harmonies, the spiritual meaning of the blending of harmonies is the sacred merging of diverse energies, inner peace, and alignment with the divine. It represents unity in diversity. This isn't about Stepford wives and everyone being identical and only one thing. This is the sacred merging of diverse energies, inner peace and alignment with the divine, and represents unity in diversity. 8.3 billion fractals, unique fractals of light, of source energy, of the divine. One body, unity in diversity, much like distinct musical notes joining to form a single beautiful song. It's about inner and outer alignment. It's mind and spirit, unifying your thoughts, emotions, and soul so they move as one cohesive force. Ahura Mazda, the rotary engine. Unity with others. It's about releasing ego and pride to blend your unique life path peacefully with the community around you. It is to go as guided, authentic you, in service, moving peacefully along your path because you've released ego and pride and you've blended your authenticity with the community around you. That also means listening, am I in the right place? Am I in the right job? Am I in the right company? Am I in the right relationship? Is this in my highest and best? Or am I meant to be elsewhere with someone else doing something else? So that unity with others, you align in your highest purity and octave. And it's about cosmic resonance, tuning your personal vibration to match the natural flow and rhythm of the universe. So that's the blending of harmonies. It's tuning, or fine-tuning, are to be in resonance with the natural flow and the rhythm of the universe. That's go as guided. That's being in harmony and oneness with it. The music of the spheres is about, it's musica universalis, that's the Latin, is that the universe is not a random collection of matter, but a living, orderly, and divine symphony. This is why Spirit, Source, and Symphony, the unseen, in the weekly wisdom and insights. It's because the unseen, the music of the spheres, isn't random. It is a living, orderly, and divine symphony. It represents the ancient belief that the movements of the sun, the moon, and the planets create an inaudible, sacred harmony that mirrors, a hertz, a resonance, that mirrors the ideal state of the human soul. And look at Earth, it's off its true north by 23.5 degrees, I believe. I mean, we're wobbling it. I mean, imagine as a human walking at 23.5 degrees off of true north, walking sideways. That's where we are. We need to get back to true north. Or instead of getting back to it, reach up and greet it. It already exists. Walk through the door. When the door opens, walk through it and don't look back. Core spiritual principles. It's about cosmic order. The music of the spheres is about cosmic order. The universe follows a precise divine design based on numbers and ratios. Inaudible truth. This is knowing. The highest spiritual music cannot be heard by physical ears, but is felt deeply by the soul and inner consciousness. That knowing. We know it. It's about inner harmony. Listening or aligning with the cosmic rhythm helps heal and balance the human mind and spirit. It heals the world. Truth heals and conquers all. It is everything we need. And it begins within and then ripples out. Historical and esoteric views. Pythagorean roots. So originating with Pythagoras, it taught that math and music rule the cosmos. They're based on numbers. So math and music rule the cosmos. They always say, math doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. They can't lie. They can never lie. So math and music rule the cosmos, linking earthly songs to heavenly motion. And this is where soul source connection, true north, it cannot lie. It will not lie. It will not take you off course. Ego, mind, personality, human, all day long. Soul source connection, never. Then it's Boethius's three musics. The philosopher Boethius divided music into musica mondana, the cosmic universe, musica humana, the harmony of the human body and the soul, and musica instrumentalis, physical instruments. So this three-headed or three triune aspect of music of the spheres. And lastly, mystic and religious parallels. Christian mystics like Hildegard of Bingen saw this harmony as God's living presence holding all creation together, much like Eastern traditions view the universe as a manifestation of sacred sound, the Nada Brahma. So the blending of harmonies and the music of the spheres, they're working in concert together with one another. An epic shift, a chord change in frequency, and how Uranus at the bending of the nodes plucked that chord, initiated that chord change, and the nodes, this full moon in Aquarius, and let me just bring up the chart again, because again, there's a lot here going on. The full moon is conjunct Pluto retrograde. When it's retrograde, everything comes up and out. Everything that has been hidden is coming out. It's in Aquarius. It wants to be healed. The truth prevails. Opposite the Sun and Jupiter in Leo. So the amplification and the magnification of the light, the healing of the light, the source to heal all of these, the goo, the illusions, all of this, where we have been off course, the disharmony, the imbalance, the dis-ease, and the how is the square between Venus and Mars. How we come back in to divine harmonic balance, divine masculine, divine feminine within each of us, regardless of gender. Gender is not the issue. You can be a man and have too much divine masculine or too much divine feminine. You can be a female in body and have the exact same thing. Where are these imbalances playing out? And how the truth in this moment allows us to heal all of this. This is a major, big story. And I just want to conclude with, this is Astrology by Lauren. And it's an excerpt from her post. Completion, the full moon, and the cradle. Because remember, we just had the cradle. There's so many things. I mean, the cradle, they can't find when this occurred previously. So astrologers are looking back thousands of years. They still haven't found where the 4 planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter, all were at 4 degrees of their respective signs, creating the basket, and the moon was at 4 degrees, creating the handle. So completion, the full moon, and the cradle, astrology by Lauren. On Monday, the sun, now in Leo, will make an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, followed by a trine to Neptune and a sextile to Uranus. Trines and sextiles are harmonious aspects in astrology. The sun will then carry the light to Jupiter with an exact conjunction, which culminates with a full moon in Aquarius conjunct Pluto retrograde. In this way, the full moon on July 29th, today, illuminates and completes the cradle of July 20th. This is no ordinary full moon. At the full moon, Jupiter is cazimi, in the very heart of the sun, becoming the star of the show. Things become larger under the tutelage of Jupiter. It holds sway. It exaggerates and fills our hearts with the sort of confidence that arises when we know in our heart of hearts that we've got this. We've got this. We know this. We just need to awaken to it, align with it, allow it. Jupiter in Leo seeks success, even in the face of what could feel like extraordinary odds. Even against forces that may seem to oppose him at every turn, Jupiter in Leo is not dissuaded. That's faith over exhaustion. When opposite Pluto, Jupiter compels us to fight for what we believe in, what we want to achieve, even our right to exist. And we may be asked to do so against these extraordinary and sometimes powerful odds that are standing in our way. The old the powers that be don't want the old way to go away. However, the host, the master weaver, the divine, God, the all that is in control, is the creator, the creatrix. They, as a unity, as a oneness, are weaving the story. Not mankind. We're co-creators. So, astrology by Lauren. In the process, we are forced to get back to our own core beliefs and priorities. Core soul beliefs, priorities. These are times when we are having to weigh our priorities and do so while our back is against the wall. What are those things worth putting yourself on the line for? What or who are you willing to take those extra risks for? What is worth the fight? You can also choose to do nothing, especially if you are too afraid of rocking the boat. However, sometimes the boat needs a little rocking. Just ask Uranus and Neptune, who are standing in the wings. There are some things that we need to stand up for. So again, it's always a choice. The choice is to listen, to align, to go as guided, and to, through discernment, rock the right boats, cast the net deeper, cast the net on the unknown side of the boat. Do these things because they lead to a greater expansion. Is it against the backdrop of challenge and fear and uncertainty? Yes. But so too was the path that Master Jesus cut for all of us. The disciples, Mary Magdalene, continued. This has been a building culmination to reach this moment, this point. Not to fall back or slide back or not prevail. Astrology by Lauren. This could require great courage to stand up for what you believe in, especially in the face of powerful forces, possibly even in the face of unfairness and guile. When Jupiter opposes Pluto, we are compelled to stand for what is right and true. We are entering a new world with new expectations, and we are being asked to hedge our bets, take some risks. The full moon is trying to make this evident, that there are just some things worth fighting for. even in the face of extraordinary challenges. It may not be easy, but there are opportunities here to also make some extraordinary changes, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of others as well. Full moons are times of culmination and completion. Like a spotlight shining on the proceedings, things are being revealed. Do not be afraid of what you find there. We are being asked to do nothing less than to take the next step towards fulfilling our collective destiny. This full moon also falls at the midpoint of an exact square between Venus in Virgo and Mars in Gemini. As a result, both Venus and Mars will be sesquiquadrate, it's 135 degrees away from the moon and Pluto. So they're intersecting, the Aquarius full moon is intersecting the exact midpoint of that square between Venus and Mars. This combination creates its own planetary picture known as Thor's hammer, where the Cazimi Jupiter and the Sun stand as the cantilever. When you want something so much that you cannot let it go, that there is a sense of desperation mixed into the equation, decisions made as a consequence of what is revealed by the full moon simply will not and cannot be resisted. What's going to be revealed? It is that compelling, Astrology by Lauren is saying. This is the sort of weather in which life-changing choices and decisions are made. A full moon with Thor's hammer in attendance can expose states of oppression that we have been putting up with. There's that confinement, that enslavement. So it can, it can expose states of oppression that we have been putting up with or ignoring. We put up with them because we think it's easier to do so. It's the beast we know. We're used to it. Or it's simply easier to live with a familiar life than it is with an uncomfortable truth. However, also, under the auspices of Thor's hammer, once we become aware of what's going on, it brings an unrivaled determination and focus to overcome the oppressive circumstances we are facing. With Pluto as the focus of the hammer, it brings a tremendous urge to overthrow, overcome, and transform the circumstances in our lives. Use Thor's hammer to rebuild, regenerate, renew, and transcend any challenges you may be facing. It's powerful and possibly even life-changing. How awesome is that? This is the excerpt from Astrology by Lauren, and I will post her full write-up on the Dearjames Facebook page for the show. So this is the unseen is saying to me, like, this is a biblical moment. This is a biblical truth, a biblical story, a biblical path. Biblical meaning historical, spiritual, and they're saying all-encompassing. They're taking events that happened 2,000 plus years ago, Exodus, Master Jesus, Mary Magdalene, fishers of men, and connecting them through this very elongated, beautiful tapestry, the way, the path, to a place that says, the calling. I see, I hear, I speak. There's trumpets. The angel is trumpeting the calling. Judgment. The angel has a trumpet. Awakening. It's about hearing your calling. And this moment, glory be that we all celebrate the divine feminine within. This harmony and balance, this intuition, this knowing, this connectivity. Truth heals and conquers all. It's about rapid acceleration of discovery, the Starship Enterprise Credo, the release of the past and the renewal that lies on the other side, the blending of harmonies and the music of the spheres, an epic shift, chord change in frequency, Uranus at the bend plucking the chords, and the nodes now having shifted into Aquarius and Leo. Magdalene, the return of the divine feminine, rise within. Fish in a barrel, the releasing of the fish, casting the wide net, and that we're to celebrate and rise I am that I am, ever present, ever constant, ever evolving. We will see you all next week.
You've been listening to Dearjames Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting dearjames.com.